people thinking that these federal workers losing their jobs is funny and it doesn't affect the regular person, just wait until they start coming for your job. Because have you ever seen a federal worker's resume? They are among the most educated and the most experienced, and they have the most diverse experience. Now, imagine all of those people coming into the private sector. They are already underpaid as federal workers. I don't know where y'all get this idea that federal workers are paid very well. They are not. They are severely underpaid. Imagine them taking all of that experience and coming into the private sector where they will no longer be underpaid. Yeah, that's going to affect us in the private sector directly. You're going to lose your job to the same people that you're making fun of.
Let me know, private sector employees, are you shaking in your boots with the thought of federal employees who have just recently been laid off applying to jobs in the private sector? I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. My take is I don't think many in the private sector are too worried about federal employees coming over and dominating the private sector because of their um, degrees and a list of accomplishments. As we've seen with the Elon Musk email with the 5 bullet points, a lot of people were whining and complaining about that. So it makes it hard to believe that these people will be that much of a threat um, to the private sector. But let me know what you think in the comments below.
Get y'all president. Get y'all president. I just got an email. We all just got an email in my office telling us and teaching us and sending us links on how to download our files. Because we may not be able to access said files once we are let go. My bad. Let go is too sweet. Once we're fired. Because that's what's happening. So Deandra asked, why I need to download my files? For in the event I have to apply for another job, I'll have them. For what? Who needs to see my performance eval from the federal government?
Let's just pause it right there really quick. See, this type of sense of entitlement is why really no one feels bad for federal employees. If I was her, I would be treading very, very lightly, especially with making these type of posts on TikTok where you have no clue who may see them. She's been with the federal government since she was 19, so essentially that's all she knows. She's never been in the private sector. She's probably never really had to experience any real um, gaps in work or being laid off. So again, she's very out of touch with reality right now. And the last thing you want to be doing as a federal employee is anything that could potentially make you a target and cause you to be terminated from your job, especially when you've been with the federal government 17 years and you probably had it pretty sweet.
Now, another government agency might need to see these files. But why would I go apply for another job in the federal government when y'all firing everybody? Why would I do that? That's dumb. Sounds dumb, don't it? I want y'all to know, everybody who voted for Agent Orange, I hope y'all are right with all of this. Because my position is not fraud, waste, and abuse. And I understand a lot of that is going on, and a lot of that has been going on since the beginning of politics. If everybody does their research, the top been always getting the most. Always. But fraud, waste, and abuse, you are combating that with letting go our meteorologists, because they're not important, and that's fraud, waste, and abuse. By letting go our ETs, because they're not important, and that's yet another fraud, waste, and abuse. You getting rid of spots that are not fraud, waste, and abuse. But I digress. That's just the world we're living in right now, and I am pissed off. I am sad about it because it's affecting me. Like I told y'all it would. Dummies.
If she was smart and understand that this is affecting her, she would be laying low right now, doing everything she can to keep her job and not make unnecessary targets on her back with posts like this.
People are getting laid off. I'm going to say that again. Thousands of people are getting laid off with no savings account. I'm not posting these videos to be cute, to be your friend. Y'all, like, you need to have money set aside for emergencies. Right now, things are out of our control. The America is in shambles, okay? Turn on the news. This is not a joke. We're like hitting a recession. Yet you want to go out on weekends, order from DoorDash, buy decorations off Amazon. Y'all, read the room. Things are scary. And I say it out of love. You cannot be spending money on things you don't need if you don't have $100K put aside. You should have a year of rent in your bank account just in case. Y'all, landlords are not sweet. They will kick you out and give your spot to the next tenant who can actually pay. Eversource, National Grid, they will cut your power off. It's time for you to take care of yourself by investing in yourself, by saving as if you have zero in the bank. If you don't know how to save, follow me. I post tips and tricks and hacks on how to stay frugal. Stay blessed.
I agree with everything she said. As we know, most Americans can't come up with $500 to $1,000 in the event of an emergency. That's why I was such a strong proponent of many federal workers taking a buyout and at least giving yourself a chance because many of you will be laid off anyway. But during these times, these trying times, especially if you're a federal employee, you definitely don't want to be doing anything outside of necessities. No trips, no new cars, no um, dinners. You want to be bare basics and bare bones right now, especially at least for this first year until the dust settles and we have a better understanding of what's going on and ultimately who's going to, remain on the government payroll and who would be let go. Again, a lot of people have to use this as a wake-up call to not get complacent, to not be satisfied in life, and always striving for more.
Let me tell you something. You got to be careful what you say, okay? When I was just graduating college, I didn't know which route to go. And I was a business economics major, but the 9 to 5 just was not for me, but it was the standard, right? So I knew I was good at doing hair. So I was like, I'm going to go to school. So I put myself through Paul Mitchell. I got my license. I ended up doing hair at a salon. It didn't work out. Did it at my house. And then I ended up getting my own space. I continued that on up until 2024. The whole time I would hear people say to other entrepreneurs, why y'all trying to do this? Y'all need to get a job. Like, entrepreneurship was just such a rebellious thing to people who had a 9 to 5, especially people who had those government jobs, the federal jobs. They swore up and down that those places is where you need to be. If you lived in Memphis and you didn't work at FedEx, you worked at the IRS. I would hear people say all the time, get you a federal job, get you a government job. It's so secure. You'll never lose your job. XY.
Absolutely facts. We all know people personally who work for the federal government and they believe they were untouchable, and now they're saying they can't be touched.
What's happening now? Don't ever get too comfortable where you at, baby, because everything can crumble, everything can fall apart, anything can happen. Regardless of where you are, what you choose to be, whether entrepreneur or 9 to 5, you're gonna always learn. You're gonna always need to have some type of skill in life, though.
Absolutely spot on. And again, it dovetails with what I was saying on the previous clip. You can never get too comfortable in life, and you need a real skill set that you could take out in the marketplace and so you don't have to worry about situations like this. The problem with a lot of federal employees is they don't really have the skill sets to prosper in this type of environment. A lot of them have very safe, very easy jobs that really weren't that much of a necessity, paper pushing. And now that you have the Trump administration in office, you have Doge, and things are getting more lean. A lot of people are going to let go, and their lives are never going to be the same. And a lot of them are not going to be able to make the adjustment in the private sector, and that's just facts.
Hey y'all, so I don't have to be quiet anymore. So I was a federal employee and I was fired today. While this was not a surprise because of the absolute shit show that is happening in our federal government, the justification is absolutely gross and incorrect. And you know what? I will share more as time passes. But I'm just really at the point where I'm trying to process, what was done to me, because that's what it is. This was done to me. I have 2 degrees and a decade of experience, and I was called a DEI hire. Make it make sense.
I'd be curious to know what those 2 degrees she has, because I mean, honestly, in this day and age, anybody can really get a degree. I'd be interested to know to actually what those degrees were. Again, degrees are very overrated. You need to have actual real skill sets, not just degrees, because we know a lot of these colleges, these online universities that are popping up. I mean, if you have the money, you essentially show up to class, you'll get pushed through. So again, just having 2 degrees means absolutely nothing. This kind of follows up the first video we saw where this woman is saying that federal employees are going to infiltrate the private sector and they have all these decades of experience and these degrees. And honestly, that stuff really means nothing. Um, you got to be able to perform day in and day out. And just in my personal opinion, I think it's going to be a struggle for a lot of people in the federal government to make that transition. But let me know in the comments below how you feel.
Hey TikTok. I'm on the way back to my job to see if I got laid off. And I have my emotional support friend to come with me. Alright, I'm at my job. My heart is literally racing, y'all. Like it's being so fast. My email is loading. Bitch, I got laid off. Oh my god. I got laid off because I'm still on my probationary period, but my probationary period literally ends in 2 weeks. Well, this is awkward. I'm not surprised, but this is awkward. And, at the moment, I don't have any way to keep funding my interview series, KB For Real, that you all been watching and enjoying. So, I don't know. I just know that God has something bigger in store for me because this already was a pit stop. So, I don't know, y'all. Just keep me in your thoughts and your prayers. And if you got something out for me, send it my way. I don't know what to say. I don't have the words. I'm just like, what the fuck? I guess my 5 bullet points that I had to send Elon of what I did last week was not good enough.
To think 2 weeks into your offer probationary period, you think everything is going to be smooth sailing, and then ultimately you get let go. Again, if you're on any type of probationary period in the federal government right now, you might as well consider your job or consider yourself as good as fired.
So I just got laid off from my 9 to 5 that I dedicated 8 years to for this big corporate company. They laid off 1,000 and some people, including myself, and it happened this morning. And it's a bittersweet feeling because, I mean, a lot of you probably didn't know that I had a 9 to 5, but I hustled, worked 9 to 5, and then did my content creation after that, sometimes 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., and then went back to the office. I cried this morning, not because I'm sad, but because, it's just like you give so much for a company, right? But I've been praying a lot about it. And, in the back of my mind, I knew that I wanted to take this content creation full time one day, but I didn't know if I had the strength to leave. And so I prayed last night. I've been praying for a couple weeks knowing that this decision was going to happen. And it's wild what God decided for me. And He knew I was ready. I just didn't know I was ready. And it is a bit scary, but I think this was the best way to go to, get a severance package and being taken care of for a little while I finally take a chance on my dreams. And go after everything I've been wanting and working so hard for. Yeah, I'm gonna cry it out and be emotional today, but this is just a raw thing for TikTok. It's finally time to bet on myself and take a chance. So I'm gonna go all in, full-time content creator. Mark my words, this date, and I'm gonna let myself be sad a little bit, but yeah, 8 hours to myself. What are we gonna do, guys? Let's go all in.
Nothing wrong with betting on yourself. Being a full-time content creator is definitely not for the faint of heart. It does sound like she was offered a severance package from her job. My advice would be to at least try to get a part-time job so you at least have some type of money in. Being in this content creation space is very up and down. There's no type of stability in it, and often you can put a lot of effort in, a lot of energy, but if these algorithms don't want to push your content, I mean, that's just what it is. You're going to be stuck and you're not going to make much money. So if it was me, I would take a strategic approach, at least try to get something part-time with the severance. Then you can still do the content creation full time. So again, you have some money coming in and you can kind of try to, do two things at one time. That would be my suggestion. But let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about these mass layoffs? People literally one day have a job, they go to sleep, wake up, and they are fired. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.